Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back to the Uncle Sharma channel here once again for an Inter therapy session, as we like to call it these days, with everything that's going on at Inter. Thank you to everyone that's been waiting patiently in the stream. And today I'm joined by a special guest who is the second cap on the channel. Actually, I'm sure everyone knows about him. Sia, octopus connoisseur, Handanovic, Eurosport journalist. What's up, bro? Thank you once again for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having. All good, all good. To be honest, better than I'd have thought. But yeah, all good, all good.
Nice,
I'm
man.
slightly
Nice.
digesting everything and finding positivity.
That's good, man. That's good. That's what I need you. I need you to do today to spread a little bit of positivity, spread a bit of gospel. There's a couple of things I wanted to get out of the way before we start. First of all, wishing Javier Zanetti a happy birthday. Obviously, our eternal captain. I think it's even more. It reminded me today of, like, with the whole Lukaku stuff going on, that what a truly loyal player he was, what a stand-up professional and a guy he was. So shouts out to
Yeah,
him.
I honestly think he has. I wanted to say this because I think he has underrated loyalty. You know, when people compare him to Totti and Maldini, I
Yeah,
think they always forget that Totti and Maldini they play for the teams of their towns, of their countries, of their hearts. You know,
right.
but Zanetti showed loyalty to a team and a city that isn't his. So
Exactly.
I feel like that's loyalty on another level. Because
Yeah,
as much as I respect Totti and Maldini, they could have joined any club they wanted, but they're still taking their city. It's still mom's pasta. It's still their town, their dream. But Zanetti is next level, next level loyalty.
yeah. No, I agree, man. He's an adopted Milanese. Yeah, no, that's a good point that you make there, because technically he's not a one club man, but in Europe, since he came to Europe,
Yeah.
he was a one club man, and yeah, really appreciate that man. Pupi Zanetti. So that one, yeah, shouts out to him. Happy birthday to him. And then the other news, bro. If I could smoke, I would smoke, but I would just grab a pen or something. But we're smoking that Raja Nainggolan pack today. The guy, the brother, the alcoholic, the cigarette smoker,
The
he's gone
booze.
for good. Tell me how you feeling about this, because I'm feeling over the moon. That guy is finally permanently gone, not alone. He is officially, his contract has been rescinded.
Yeah, I think he got paid too much to leave. To be honest, like I honestly wouldn't have given him half the salary that he was due. But now he's gone, and I kind of hope that the club needed it really badly, because I don't think they would have done it otherwise. So yeah, he's gone. I was hoping that Besiktas would sign him for 1 million or something, but yeah, who cares? I think Raja. I think he did well in the beginning. I think he did well, but then when he got injured, everything just messed up, and he got that Champions League goal, so I can't blame him more than that. I just hope that I think he's been seen way worse than he would have been seen if it wasn't that Zaniolo went the other way. I
Yeah,
think that has
exactly.
like massively slaughtered. And I think people should just remember that Santon went the other way as well. So there was one more positive to the whole Raja deal. Of
They
course,
paid us. They paid us money for Santon.
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
big ass
so
deal.
of course big money went, and big wage and long contract for a player who honestly I think showed that he wasn't meant to be great.
Yeah,
He was meant to be what he was at Roma, and that was his level, and he was
yeah.
damn good. I think at a time I thought he was top five midfielders in the world, but
Same,
he
bro.
wasn't meant to be at Inter. And now I'm actually happy he's gone. To be honest, I think it's good for the club. It's good for him. It's good for everyone. He was just paid too much.
Yeah, no, that was the issue with him, with Raja. It was every summer. It was Cagliari would want him, but the salary was too much, and he doesn't want to take a cut. Nothing. So yeah,
Yeah.
as you said, we gave him, I think, 2 million, because it's like half of his salary. He was
And he
earning
gets
like
paid
40.
well at Cagliari. I think he gets like 2 million euros or something like
Yeah,
that, which is good for them. I don't
yeah.
know why they gotta insist with this
Hey
type.
man, this relationship with Cagliari at the moment is not really working out. It's like one way. We'll see what happens with the Nandez thing. But yeah, I don't want to waste too much time and breath on Nainggolan, because he didn't waste much time and breath on Inter. So we can move on to what we really want to talk about today. Sia, everyone in the comments is waiting for what you're gonna say. They're obviously everyone's throwing the Handanovic comments at you. I'm not gonna ask you about it because I asked you about it last time. I think everyone knows that what your thoughts are on Handanovic, so I'm not gonna waste time on that. But okay, Lukaku is gone. We can talk about Lukaku at the end, but let's talk about the moves that are being rumored. So let me just share my screen just to show people the tweets and the people that are actually reporting the news. So first of all, Edin Dzeko, as reported here by Rudy Galletti, seems like we found a deal with Roma. We're going to pay them between 1.5 and 2 million euros, which I was incorrect in my previous stream. I said it looks like we're getting them on a free transfer, but we are paying them a little bit, not so they don't make a loss on their book, with a 2-year contract of 4.5 million plus bonuses. What's your thoughts on this, bro? Edin Dzeko, I know it's a few years too late, but what's your thoughts on this now, post Lukaku?
I think it's the deal you make when you have no money and you need to quickly resolve a situation that's been created in August. So I think he's a very good player still, and I think he can still do it in Serie A, because if Zlatan is doing it, if Giroud and the guys are doing it, of course, I think Zlatan is better than Dzeko. But still, if the old guys are still doing it, I see no reason why Dzeko shouldn't be able to do it. And I honestly think that him and Lautaro together, let's hope Lautaro stays, they team up with their qualities very, very, very well. And I think when you buy Dzeko, you shouldn't only see him as a striker. I think you should see him as some kind of attacking playmaker, a hybrid between what was once a number 10 and now a striker, because he's so good at coming down, keeping the ball, setting up his teammates. And I think at Roma, he was the striker, but he didn't really have the guys who kind of took the runs or made in between. So I'm really interested in seeing how he can do in a striker partnership with a player like Lautaro, that's more technical, that's faster, that's mobile. So
Yeah.
I honestly, I have no problem with Dzeko. I just hope that he's physically fit. I hope that he's a bit hungry to, do something, and not that he comes to Milan thinking this is his last year and stuff like that. So I have no problem with taking Dzeko in. Of course, if I could choose a striker, I might go for Alexander Isak or Vlahovic or those guys. But for the amount of money and for the situation that has been created, I think Dzeko is a very good signing, and I think that he knows the league, he knows the country, he can do well straight away.
Yeah. And you touched on it there about his injury record, and Indrahari asks about that as well. So it's from what I remember, and yeah, it's pretty much confirmed on Transfermarkt. He's got a pretty good, like he's a very
Yeah, he
physically
was out.
reliable.
He was out last year because of the fight he had with
Yeah.
Fonseca. That
Yeah, they
was the
took
reason.
the Icardi type situation going on there. They
Yeah,
took the captaincy away from him, which obviously is
yeah,
gonna take all your motivation away, right?
yeah. But he already wanted to leave for Inter 2 years before. He
Yeah.
was on the verge of joining Juve the year before that, and Napoli, I think, as well. No, not Napoli, but there was a lot of talks there with Milik and the guys, and Dzeko was always part of that. But then it just fell off. I would have wanted him 2 years ago, but with this situation, I think you have to kind of be happy. And as it looks for now, it's like he has 2 injuries a season. I just hope that when he comes to Inter, it won't change.
Yeah, obviously with the advancing age, you never know that it could increase, as we've seen with the Zlatan. Is just time catches up with everyone.
Yeah,
But from
yeah,
what
of
I
course.
know, he's a like Zlatan and those kind of guys. He takes care of himself. He's a professional. So
Yeah,
even
and
when I
I think
remember,
he wants to play the World Cup, right? With
yeah,
Bosnia, like so. I think people often forget that, but I always look at like the summer tournament.
mm,
Like the Euros last year. The guys they want. If you sign them, they want to be come to the Euros fit in good form, in good shape, with the
Yeah.
positive season. So it's always good to have players in your team that want to take their countries to the Euros or World Cup, or stuff like that. So I think he's a good signing, and honestly, in this situation we're in now, we need something like that, because he'd give a bit of continuity to the gameplay that was with Lukaku. He's not Lukaku. He doesn't have the
No.
speed, but he can do the strength part.
Yeah.
He can
Mm,
keep the ball. He can link up with Lautaro. So I think he has a lot of good qualities that he give. And as you see, like the aerial wins is crazy.
yeah. I mean, he adds a different dimension. Like Lukaku, that's one complaint I always had about Lukaku, because he's a big guy, but I always felt like his heading and actual like
Yeah,
aerial play wasn't that good. And Edin Dzeko is like one of the best, if not the best in the league when it comes to that. Like the way he brings down balls into his chest, on his head. We've seen even De Vrij at times when he struggles to handle Dzeko whenever we play Roma. He's
yeah,
very technical, as you said. He's one of those like advanced playmakers. Like he ranks high with through balls, low passes, passes under pressure.
yeah.
So yeah, this guy he's not a finished. I've seen a lot of people trying to call him finished. He's not finished, guys. This guy, I think as people are
Uh,
underestimating him.
his numbers are good. I
Yeah,
think the non-penalty expected goals is really good number.
yeah,
The 0.63 is so that I don't know how many people know these numbers, but that means what kind of chances he comes to per 90. And 0.63 is a chance that 2 out of 3 times is a goal.
yeah,
So that's a good number. I mean, that's a really good number. It means he's a striker that gets himself into chances.
yeah.
And
But maybe his finishing is not as clinical, which is might be one of the
yeah,
we've seen over the years. He's had some misses that have gone viral,
yeah.
and that's probably one of his problems. But yeah, we've got Lautaro for that anyway, so it's not.
And so he's been like the only striker at Roma.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I think he's going to be better when he's not the only guy who has to score.
Yeah. And yeah, there's nothing that really stands out to me in terms of bad performance. Yeah, like as we said, the XG, the actual goals he scored is not maybe that good, but yeah, maybe miss a lot of miscontrols. But yeah, he gets a lot of passes under pressure, so it's difficult for him. But one thing I wanted to point out as well, with Dzeko coming in, finally the Balkan Inter is back active again.
Yeah,
The project of reuniting Yugoslavia, as Inter often do sometimes, and Perisic and Dzeko, Kolarov, over the years they've been pictured many times together. So maybe that's a nice,
Brozovic
team
as well.
chemistry. Yeah, yeah.
I
So that'd be
remember
nice.
that year that Dzeko was going to come to Inter, and he didn't when he renewed, and then Perisic left because he went to Bayern. And I was like, oh, if Dzeko would have came, he probably would have stayed. And so now they are reunited.
Yeah, yeah, that's a was an interesting little background on them.
Yeah,
Dzeko, no, it's not official, guys. As I showed that tweet, is they're just waiting. Obviously there'll be the medical. I think the Lukaku will be done first, and then Dzeko
yeah,
will be done afterwards. I think there's still a few things to iron out. Am I right? As
yeah.
far as you know, Sia.
Yeah, yeah. And Roma probably wants to get some replacement or striker at least.
Yeah, of course they've been linked with Tammy Abraham, so we'll have to see
Yeah,
what
Velotti
happens
as well.
with that. Yeah, people, questioning Dzeko's finishing. Dzeko is one for the big derby games only. Such intelligence will be needed then. Yeah, he's definitely a big match player I've seen over the years. He scored some big goals for Man City, for Roma in the Champions League. So there, he adds a lot to Inter in terms of leadership as well. Let's not forget we've lost a lot with the Lukaku in terms of leadership as well. So there's different levels that Dzeko adds, not just technically, but also experience and leadership wise. So, what about the salary, bro? Do you feel like I don't know? It's quite an expensive deal. Do you not think? Like we already seen with Vidal and these types of deals that these high salaries. Obviously, we're not going to be able to sell Dzeko again. Is it going
No,
to be a burden?
it depends on how he does, right? Like if he's good this season, that's money well paid. I think Inter is in a desperate situation. Strikers are difficult to sign,
Yeah,
especially with short time. Nobody wants to lose their striker. I mean, it was first said 6 million euros,
Mm.
and that's too much for me. But
Yeah,
4.5, that's what you have to give, and that's more or less that's it. I
yeah,
think, of course, it might be too much, but I can't expect Edin Dzeko to take 3 million euros or four, because he was at like 6 or 7 million euros at Roma, I think.
7.5 isn't the same as
Yeah,
Dzeko.
yeah. So he's kind of he's taking a pay cut to come, and that's that.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm so what I'm wondering is how long the contract will be, because
Mm.
they're saying 2 years, right? But
Yeah.
that's something that you could work on, right? Like that should be probably 1 year with an option for one more, or 2 years with an option for one more. I think 4.5 is a good amount.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. 4.5 is probably the best. And yeah, people are saying, they would rather go for someone younger and stuff. But as Sia said, it's kind of a panic station at the moment for Inter, because I don't think they were expecting the Lukaku deal to happen. There's 2 weeks left. There's not much out there, guys. You can criticize the move as much as
No,
you want,
nobody
but
wants to lose their strikers. Like I like Zapata,
yeah,
but I'm not sure Atalanta would like to lose him to Inter at this
yeah,
stage, because everyone is keeping their strikers, and then you go for someone, from Premier League or something, and they're just going to want. They're like, I think what's happening with the Premier League teams is that if Chelsea sells Tammy Abraham, like now, Arsenal wakes up, hey, why should he go to Atalanta? Just come to us instead, So
yeah,
it's not easy, and like the thing with Dzeko, and I think the thing with Zapata, is that these guys aren't long-term investment, and if
no,
Inter is going to be a selling club, we're going to need that kind of player. So we have that in Lautaro, right? Like he's the guy they'll sell, and if you sell Lautaro, you're going to be able to sign a talent. But as it seems now, that's the guy you get. He momentarily saves a lot, doesn't need
mm,
to learn a lot, knows tactics, knows the coach, knows the players. It's because now we're fighting against the clock. Like we can come to the first game with either Jeko and maybe someone else, or we
yeah,
have Satriano because Lautaro is suspended and Alexis is
yeah.
injured.
So we've got a little bit of an issue for the first match against
Yeah,
Genoa. So Alexis is out for, they say he's definitely out for the Genoa match due to a calf issue. Then yeah, Lautaro is suspended. Lukaku is gone. So you left with Satriano and Pinamonti at the moment.
yeah. And Pinamonte should be leaving, I think.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
I think the second they get one or two strikers in, I think he's going to leave. I
Yeah.
think they're just keeping him now in case they desperately need to throw him on against Genoa.
Yeah, I think that will be, yeah. If depending on the injury situation, they might need to just keep him whichever. I think Empoli are trying to get him. I
Yeah,
think they might try to convince Empoli to let them keep him just for that match and then loan him
yeah.
out straight after that. What do you make of this question that everyone seems to be asking? Out of those guys, I mean, Dzeko, do you think he's coming in as the starter or as the backup too? Do you think there's still, if we get Dzeko, which is pretty much done, do you think they're going for another Zapata type, Dzeko type player, or they're going for Correa?
I think it comes down to the coach. Does he want someone he knows and trusts, or
Yeah,
does he want someone else? We talked about the numbers earlier today that you posted with Duan, and I think he makes sense in all kinds of ways, because
yeah,
he
limited amount.
scores, he kind of he links up, he assists, he does a lot of things that Lukaku did. Of course, he's not the same, and of course he played for a different team. Like a lot of these numbers are obviously like they are because he played for Atalanta, who play a bit differently from Inter. I don't think they play so differently from Inter because the
No,
system is the same. They attack from the middle and they attack from the wings. They have always faced teams that are playing with all the defenders in the penalty area. They play man. I think Atalanta pressures more up in the pitch, whilst
yeah,
Inter last season came down after the first half of the season.
yeah,
They started to press a bit lower and leave the back three as it was.
yeah,
But I think there are many similarities between the two teams, and that's why I honestly think Zapata makes a lot of sense. So
Yeah.
that's the outside view, and then I have Simone Inzaghi that coached Correa, that knows him. The
Yeah.
problem I have with Correa is that I generally think that he doesn't score enough. I
Yeah.
think he's good at creating chances. I love to have speed in the team, especially when Hakimi is gone.
Mhm.
But I think Correa has that, and I think if you sign Correa, it means you're making Lautaro go full out striker. Um,
Yes. That's
and I
the
think
one point I
and
wanted to talk with you.
I think that's what they want to do, because Lautaro last season scored 17 non-penalty goals. That's a lot of goals,
Yeah.
and if he has everything to be first. Like, I don't know how you say it in English. Like the striker, and then there's the second striker, right?
Yeah. The number
The
nine,
second
the main
striker,
number
yeah.
nine.
So I think Lautaro has everything to be that and to take that role. And if you take in Correa, I think that means you're going to use Lautaro as the main striker, and I think he's good enough to do it. But I also think if you take in Zapata, that's because you say we want to keep on building what we were doing last year. We want Lautaro to be second striker. We want Zapata to be the first, and we'll tactically more or less be the same.
Yeah.
Zapata will win the duels. He'll score more goals. He'll get assists, but Lautaro will be in the role that he was last year. So both the signings make sense. For me, Zapata makes a bit more sense, but maybe the coach says, I want more speed. I
Hmm.
want more flair. I want more breaking lines and stuff that Correa gives you. And that means Lautaro can take the next step and score more goals.
Yeah, man. I have a lot of. I think Interista are very split on Lautaro because of his kind of not very efficient finishing. As we know, sometimes he can miss easy goals. But as you said, like he was the main guy for Argentina. Let's not forget this Copa America they won with Lautaro being the sole number
So
nine.
I
Um,
think when Lautaro missed
mm,
the chances that he missed, comes down more to physical form than him not being a good finisher. Because it wasn't only him missing chances at that stage that he was missing; it was the whole team. And I think in today's football, we have to look more at what kind of chances are the team creating, right? Not
mhm.
what kind of chances is the striker coming to only. So I think when I compared Lukaku and Zapata's number, it showed that Inter were very good at putting Lukaku in high scoring positions, right? So that's also because Lukaku is good by himself, right? He's fast, he's
Yeah,
strong, he's going to take himself to chances. But the team
yeah,
effectively was built to put him in good chances.
yeah.
And
And
I think,
Lautaro is likes to shoot a lot more as well. I think he averages
yeah, yeah,
almost double the shot from
yeah, and he
Lukaku.
takes shots from outside the box as well.
Yeah.
But if Inter can keep producing the same quality of chances, doesn't matter if it's Lautaro or Correa or Darmian or Perisic coming to them. They're going to get, if the expected goal is between 60 and 70, it
Mm.
means that 2 out of 3 shots from there from any player is a goal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think the important thing for Inter is to keep doing that. And that, I think, is a bigger question mark than if it's Zapata or Correa or Lautaro or Dzeko. The question mark is, will Inzaghi be able to create the same amount of good chances without the same quality on the players?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, everyone, as you said, like, I think everyone now is married to that. Just because we play 3-5-2 doesn't mean that Inzaghi will want to play it the exact same way as Conte. It doesn't mean that he would want that. Everyone says it needs to be the small man, big man combination, like the Lautaro Lukaku. It doesn't necessarily have to be like that. Inzaghi,
No, because Inzaghi has a lot more freedom than Conte did.
yeah,
Like when you're with Conte, you have to go in the system, otherwise you're out. Inzaghi gives, I think, so something that's I think very few people are talking about, right? Because
mm,
we're now all focused on we lost Hakimi. Nobody's going to be better than Hakimi. We lost
yeah,
Lukaku. Nobody's going to be better than Lukaku, right? But if we look at what can Inter improve from last season, I think the most clear thing is the goals from the midfield. Because
yeah,
I think the maximum thing we did last season with the strikers, we won't be able to do that. Like even if we get 30 goals out of Lautaro and Dzeko and 20 from Zapata, that's amazing. That's beyond everything. But the midfield, Chalanoglu, Barella, Brozovic, if Vecino, Sensi, if these guys can start coming up to 10 goals, 11 goals, 7 or 8 goals, that's where we have a lot to win that we didn't have last season. And that's what Inzaghi did with Milinkovic Savic, with Luis Alberto. I don't think Inter has the exact same players, but I think Chalanoglu has the potential to score 10 goals.
Yeah, he does. He does. He in that right foot. If he becomes consistent, he definitely has that. And if he starts scoring those free kicks again, like he used to do
Yeah,
in Germany, well, we saw with the first friendly,
yeah,
the 2 goals came from midfield. And Inzaghi as well. When you look at the numbers from Luis Alberto, Milinkovic, Savic, those guys, they started putting up very very important numbers
yeah.
under Inzaghi. So we shouldn't think that we're going to play the exact same way that we were, long ball
No,
to Lukaku.
absolutely not.
So,
Because Lukaku gives you 25 goals.
yeah.
I don't like, no matter how good Lautaro is, I
Mhm.
think he's a 2022 goal player. Like if he has a really good season, he goes up
Yeah.
to 20, a bit over. I
Yeah.
think Zapata can score 25 or 20, but I don't know if I get him. I think Dzeko can do 15 without a problem. But I don't think Darmian can do what Hakimi did. I think
No,
he can
no, no.
score some goals, but
I
he
think
doesn't have the
Darmian,
speed.
people need to forget about that
Yeah,
what Antonio Conte does with wing backs. I don't
yeah.
think Darmian's ever going to do that again.
No, but I think he's going to maybe score 3 or 4. I think
Yeah,
Di
yeah, yeah.
Marco will give more goals than Kolarov maybe did, and more assists, right? But I think when I look at a relevant kind of goal, right? Like, I think Hakimi had 8 or 9 or something, and
Yeah.
the assist. I think the relevant amount of goals, the 5 to 15 goals per player, has
Yeah.
to come from the midfield.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has to come from the midfield. It has to be those guys. It has to be Sensi. It has to be Vecino. It has to be Chala. It has to be Barella. It has to be Brozo. Like those are the guys that I see. Like what did Antonio Conte's Inter not do well? Not that they didn't do well, but if you look at Conte's Inter, you knew these guys are going to activate the 2 strikers, and the two
Yeah, yeah.
strikers are going to make the difference. And if they are not activated, this team won't work.
Yeah.
So that what we did well last year was activating Lautaro and Lukaku so often.
Yeah.
But that meant, Barella didn't score so many goals. Brozovic didn't score so many goals. Eriksson, in the end, started to score goals. In the
Yeah,
end,
right at the end.
yeah. But that's where I expect from the start. I expect the midfielders to start putting in goals.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I think it has to. I think those are going to be the changes, as Interista forever here says. There's a lot more directness with this Inzaghi system. So yeah, I want to see more of those midfield runs. Like it would have been. This is what as you said, Vecino. That's why you mentioned Vecino so many times. He's one of the few that has got that in him. That late run into the box.
Even
Vidal had that in him,
Gagliardini
but I don't know if
is one
he.
of is one of Gagliardini's best qualities, right? One of the few qualities is the
Yeah.
run into the box. Like I think that's something that he's actually good at, in
Yeah.
difference from a lot of our midfielders. I don't know how much he will play, but you know that's what he's supposed to do. And I think we saw that in the last friendly with DeMarco crossing to Vicino.
Yeah.
Vicino is made for that. I think he can easily score 10, but he won't play as much. But he's a
No.
player that needs to bring the goals.
Yeah, that's his main characteristic. I think is very unique in our team. What Vecino brings.
He's a
Um,
striker, more or less.
yeah, oh, he's got the movement as well. We keep getting these Handanovic questions, bro. But I know I said I didn't want to ask you about it, but it does make sense because we're talking about the forwards. But just quickly touching on, I know you've never been a Handanovic fan, and now you must be even less. But how confident are you going into yet another season as Handanovic, the undisputed number one?
Yeah, I think so. He gives you a lot with the game on his feet, right? I
Oh
think
yeah,
it's a big difference maker, that, and it should be mentioned. Like when I complain on Handanovic, it's never because he loses the ball when he has to play it up, right? Like he had a big miss, I think it was against Benevento, and I say, people were so surprised because I said something like, I'm not going to blame Handanovic for playing out the ball and doing a mistake because 9 out of 10 times it gives Inter an advantage in build-up.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't feel confident with him in the post. I think last season, I don't think he had a single good game. I think he had two, three good saves in the derby.
Oh, come on.
Oh, three good saves in the derby. I mean, in the derby,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
a
I
good
think
game. What more do you want from him? Yes, that was a good game.
yeah, two or three good saves from the Inter
Uh,
goalkeeper during the whole season. Is that good enough? No. So I think last season Inter won the Scudetto, and they would have won it 1 month earlier if he had done his job. And going with that into this season honestly doesn't have me feeling safe. So I'm going to give him this. Last season, nobody had a preseason. He went straight up to the next season, and he's an old guy, right? So he needs his time. Um, More than that, um, oh, what can I say? I think I really don't think that anyone can be safe with him, and I think the back three aren't safe with him either because he doesn't come out. He doesn't command the penalty area. He's good on the line. That he is good. I can't say anything on that. He's good with
yeah.
his feet. Can't say anything about that. But I honestly don't feel safe with him, and I honestly don't feel safe about the fact that Inter doesn't have a second goalkeeper that's good enough.
Yeah.
Like you have Handanovic, but you have to give him competition. You have to take someone like who is seriously going to contend, and he doesn't have that. But I hope that Inzaghi will rotate a bit more because I felt it was strange that Conte didn't.
Yeah. What do you think Radu? Do you think Radu is good enough?
Yeah, absolutely. To rotate, yes,
Hmm.
absolutely, like without doubt. And the thing is, I can tolerate a mistake from a 23-year-old goalkeeper.
Hmm.
I can't from a 38-year-old goalkeeper. Like I can't. And I think goalkeeping discussions is so. I think every save now is seen as great, but every save isn't great. Like we were talking about expected goals. I think the amount of expected goals that Inter has let in that was 10% or 5% or 20% has been very many last season. So we're going into season with him as goalkeeper, and I expected that and knew it. People say,
Yeah.
"Who should we get? What should we do? Sia, what
Same.
should we do? You want Handanovic gone?" And I said, "Yes, I want him gone, but he's not leaving. So I can't keep that as a passionate thing. I just and people think I hate him. I don't hate him. I just don't rate him as highly as you guys do. So and now he's the captain, and he's the only one staying, and he has no only one who isn't up for sale from Suning. So that's the life, and I think honestly he gives a lot with his build up. So I'm okay with that, but don't come into my mentions and say I was right when you're going to mess things up because you will.
No, I honestly, yeah, I'm worried as well this season because last season I was like, okay, I can take for one more season. He should be okay. I don't see any other alternatives. We don't have the money. It's okay. But this season, yeah, as you said, like I was already resigned to him being, the number one because it seems like it's not a priority for the club.
He had so
Um,
many mistakes last season.
yeah,
I
and
think
that's the thing that annoys me was that the fact that Radu was never given a chance when he was performing badly. Conte just didn't see him. But with Inzaghi, we've seen maybe it's different, will be different, but we'll see. Like with Strakosha, he took him out of the team, put Peperena in there, and then he put Strakosha back in. Like he was a little bit more rotating with his goalkeeper. So maybe we'll see. Maybe Radu will get
yeah, but
more
so
of a
so
chance.
the thing I thought was strange with Conte is that if a goalkeeper is 38 and like for goalkeepers, not so much physically that they are tired, right? It's
Yeah,
mentally.
yeah,
You
yeah.
play 3 games a week, you're not going to be 100% sharp the third game. And those were the games where I found it strange that Conte didn't give Rado a chance.
Yeah. Because that Fiorentina game, remember in the Coppa Italia, we were all thinking
Yeah,
that's going to be Radu's first game.
Rado.
He
Yeah.
mudded us all.
So that's that. But
What
yeah,
about Onana? Do you know? Do you know? Because I've only seen like kind of Champions League games. He used to pretty impressive keeper. Obviously Ajax school, so he's great with his feet. What do you make of that potential free signing for next summer? They're talking about.
no, would be a very good signing. It's a young goalkeeper. If you manage to get him for free, he's good with his feet.
Yeah,
He's suspended for doping or drugs, or what was it? Something like that,
yeah,
right?
some sort of
Yeah,
doping allegation.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So that's his thing. So I think they have to do their scouting well. But he looked like a really good goalkeeper when Ajax were at their best. And if he has the game with his feet, that's a plus because it's going to be very hard for Inter to find a keeper like who does what Samir does now. And
yeah,
like that's important today. Like if you want to play like that, that's important. And Conte obviously wanted. I don't know if Inzaghi will want to. I think it's automatic more or less. So you should continue with that. And if you can get Onana for free, it's an amazing signing. I mean,
yeah.
they can sell him the day after, but get him in, and that he's a real first goalkeeper.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that would be the smart thing, especially if you have no money. You have to find those opportunities in the
Yeah,
market. Yes, that doping allegation maybe is not great, and he hasn't played for a while, but you have to find those opportunities. And I think with the goalkeepers, I'm sure he can get up to speed quite quickly. I think Brazil, the guy doesn't even. I think he went to like La Liga B, that's the second La Liga, and
yes,
he didn't even get any games out there. So there must be a reason why he didn't even get games in the lower division. So
that's
yeah,
something that's strange with Inter. They manage to loan their players out to clubs where they aren't playing, and it's just
yeah,
doesn't make sense.
yeah.
Should-
I mean, that's why Chelsea. Everyone criticizes Chelsea's loan system, but usually those players actually get to play when they get loaned out. In Inter's loan system, no one. They come back even worse than they left. Um, Yeah, no, that was. I think that covered the Handanovic questions that I was getting bombarded with in the in the chat. Every time you come in, bro, the Handanovic is like
My
it's like your
legacy is
badge.
incredible.
Yeah, when you're on your when you die, that will be one of the things on your the
Tombstone.
tribute. But moving on to another part of the team. A few questions there about Dumfries. Apparently, I mean, Nandez deal was supposed to be almost done, and I'm guessing is close to getting done now that the Nainggolan redemption, or his contract has been done. But there's also, I've read quite reputable sources are reporting that Dumfries is close, or they're in strong talks with Raiola and PSV at the moment for around 15 million plus bonuses. What do you make of that? Do you think it will be both of them coming in, or do you think it will be one of them coming in? And who do you prefer?
I hope it will be both.
Hmm.
I really hope it will be both because Nandes is so flexible and can play in so many positions. Like he can play right wing back, left wing back. He can play midfielder like Barella. Um, I think Nandes has better offensive qualities. I think he has the speed. He has a bit of technique, and I really like to see that. I think when I saw Dumfries at the Euros, he struck me more as very, very good defensively and physically. I
Oof,
think
yeah.
he's strong, he's fast, he's good at the headers. It's not easy to pass him. So people want to replace Hakimi, and they think there's going to be another Hakimi.
Mhm.
It's not going to be another Hakimi. He is not that type of player. He might become that type of player that can do the crosses, the dribbles, the shots. I don't see him that way, but I think he can get goals. I think he can get assists. But most importantly, I think he can be very good defensively, which is important in Serie A. And I think that if he hasn't found a club yet, there's a reason for that. And if that reason is Inter, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And one more thing that I wanted to say that I've been thinking but haven't tweeted.
Mhm.
If Raiola is bringing his player to your team, it means the team is still solid. There is still hope.
Mhm.
Raiola doesn't bring his players to a team that are finished.
That's
Like,
true.
okay, if it's Pogba for 100 million euros, he might bring them to United that's struggling, but it's still the Premier League. So getting him would be a good sign for me. Like honestly, even though a couple of years from now, you might sell him. Um, After that, you have a good player, and he's going to be starter for Netherlands for so many years.
Mhm.
He's going to be in the World Cup, in the Euros. He's going to play, so he would be a great signing, and I think he's one of those with resale value. So yeah, I think for this guy, we're there, and I'd love to see Nandes as well, because I love fast players. I loved having Hakimi because he was fast, and I think many talk about, right, how much Inter is going to lose offensively because
Mhm.
Hakimi is gone, but they're not talking about how much we're going to lose defensively, because Hakimi, when there was a counter, the guy could start 20 meters
Yeah.
behind and recover.
The
From
recovery
the
runs
corner,
were crazy.
the corners, they were running and they saw, oh no, it's Hakimi. I'm going to give up. I'm not even going to run here. So I really hope they can get both. If I have to choose one, I think Dumfries is a good signing, and I think Nandez is a versatile player to play on all the midfield positions. I'd love to get both.
Yeah, I'm still. I've said them many times. I was impressed with the Dumfries at the Euros, like everyone was, but it's just like I haven't watched him at PSV, and the numbers don't look that good to me from Dumfries. Like being in the Dutch league for that long, I thought I was expecting better numbers. But as you said, I think he's just better defensively anyway, so it's not
Yeah, yeah.
shouldn't look too much into that. And I guess
People shouldn't expect, the new Hakimi, even if he
yeah.
replaces Hakimi. He's not
And
that.
And when we think about it, I think I've mentioned this a few times. I think the play now is going to switch because obviously last year we were very focused, even with Kandreva, we were focused on the right side heavily. But I think this year with Hakan on that side, Bastoni, Di Marco, Perisic as well, I think I think there's going to be more emphasis on the left hand side, in my opinion. So I think if there is a more defensive right wing back like a Dumfries, I think that's fine. But the thing that struck me with Dumfries though is almost like Hakimi. I think by Frank de Boer, there was one thing he got right. Like he was given that freedom. Like every time I looked into the box, it seemed like Dumfries was in there to like win those headers,
Yeah.
like you were talking about. So he seems to got that timing of runs into the box quite well. So that could be a weapon to use when
I
you
also think what's impressive is that doesn't matter if his fifth minute or his 75th, he's there,
yeah
and that shows that he gets it right. He knows when to go and when not to go, and he has the lungs. Top players today, they need to be physically good, and I think that's a good signing. I mean,
Mm.
and in Italy, is not a problem with the defensive player. It's the opposite. It's good. So I think that guy is good, and I kind of like if Nandes comes in as well, because usually when this type of player changes country and comes to Italy, they always need a couple of months.
yeah
Always, always, always. From the German league, from the Dutch league, Belgium, these players, they need time. So if you get both, you have one that knows the league, you have Darmian that knows the league, and then you have Dumfries that when he's ready, he's going to be ready. So
yeah
hopefully,
no I
they
think
can go.
both will come in as it seems. And yeah, I think Nandes will be the rotational player. But yeah, his as you can see, his numbers they look all right. I mean, he looks like he's a penalty taker for PSV, which is handy as well. So that
I
speaks
think
to him.
the progressive passes is interesting because he
Yeah,
he he takes them and gets them. I think the low passes is good because he can play out of pressure.
yeah,
And I think the goal creating actions, if you just
yeah.
defensive
Zero
actions,
point five three. That's quite high.
yeah. So and the passes under pressure as well, because you don't get time in Italy. So having those kind of players that can just do the 1-2 and move on is good. Of
Yeah,
course, he'll have negative stuff as well, and of course, it won't be the same. And so no shots blocked. We're met.
he doesn't like getting his body in the way.
What might mean that he doesn't get any shots against him. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
if
yeah.
you look at the numbers for Skriniar and the guys, they're not so impressive, but
No,
we all
no.
know how they played. So Yeah. I think he's a solid signing, but I wouldn't I wouldn't complain if we got both. I would love that.
Yeah. Can you put that side to side to Hakimi? Yeah, let me
If you
just.
want to get depressed, yes.
Yeah, that's what I
Otherwise,
mean. I don't want to depress people because it's gonna be like. But actually, when I remember looking at Hakimi's, is that's the thing with stats. Stats is like, you can't read too much into it. I use this just to get a quick overview of things. You shouldn't
so,
look at players.
also these stats they don't measure physical data. They don't
Yeah,
measure the amount of sprints, the top speed, the the stuff like that. So yeah,
yeah. I
but
mean,
also it doesn't measure the systematic differences.
yeah, yeah, exactly. We don't know like what type of system Dumfries plays with, because we know Hakimi was primarily playing counter-attacking system. But yeah, similar in terms of goal creating, 0.55, just a little bit more than
Yeah,
Dumfries, and yeah, progressive passes received, I think similar. But yeah, the pressures is the one where that stands out. The attacking third pressures, Hakimi used to be the one going up and doing
yeah.
the pressures. But I'm sure Dumfries, if we needs to do
Yeah, the
that,
pressure is I think when how
that's an
many times you
instruction.
win the ball after losing it, and he's
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
very good at that because he's fast.
Yeah, and actually, like when you think about it, Hakimi, he's a good dribbler, but he's not great like in short spaces, like 1v1. He wasn't that great, and his crossing
No.
was a little bit
Yeah,
hit
yeah,
and
but
miss.
he uses his speed,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that
But when he has space,
yeah he kills you.
yeah, yeah. Marcel Jacobs for right wing back. Yeah, that would be nice. Apparently, he's an Interista as well. I've heard. Oh, I
I
read.
didn't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
so
fast as hell at least.
we'll have to fact check that one. But before you go, last one. Seen a few questions, and I had it in my below as well. So what we doing with Satriano, bro? There's a lot of hype around the Satriano boy. I can see why there's a hype because we in Taristi are just starving for a Primavera, star to come through and actually make the breakthrough into the team. What do
Yeah,
you think of him? Is he good enough? Would you keep him? I personally said I would loan him out, but the way that our front line is
no,
looking right now, we might have to just keep him.
I think he needs to get playing time, and
Yeah,
if he gets
exactly.
that in the first game for Inter, that's fine. If he gets that in the second game, if they want to keep him as an ace to throw on from the bench, do that. But when the season starts, I don't think he's going to play a lot. This first game, maybe. But a player like that has the grit, that has the talent. I think he desperately needs to go somewhere where he can do 20 games.
Mhm.
And I think, it's just he's Uruguayan, right? So that's the thing with him that I like, that
The Garra.
yeah, he has that killer mentality that you love to see. So I think he's obviously one of the most interesting players I've seen from the youth team. He's not so young, to be honest. He's what, 20 years.
Yeah, 20
But
years.
yeah, but I think he has a maturity that not many 20-year-old players have. I mean, I think he makes the right moves. I think he knows when to shoot and when to pass. So a lot of nice qualities.
He's
But
already overtaken Pinamonti, right?
yeah, yeah, I think Pinamonti he became good too quickly, because now he's like already on the way down. And he has a big salary, which makes it a problem for him to be loaned out or get playing time anywhere. So
Thank you, Raiola.
yeah, and I honestly think he should have got more chances last season as well. But it is what it is. Conte is very strict.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But yeah, but he might be, as we said with Pinamonti, we might have to keep him until the end of the transfer window, just in case we need
Yeah,
numbers physically, just
yeah,
numbers.
and the
Because
same with Satriano. I
yeah,
think there's a lot of clubs that want him, and the same goes there that with Brazil. You have to loan him to a club where they say he will play 100%.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's just unnecessary. And I think Inter needs to put it into the contract sometimes. Like, hey, you get 500K extra if he plays 20 games.
exactly. Some incentive for the
Yeah,
for the club to play your player, and then they get some money, and then you get a better player by the time he comes back. So that should, well, obviously right now we're too broke for that, but it should, in the future we should look into that for sure. And yeah, but So like how with the Esposito, he went to Basel. I think that kind of club. But I think Serie B, I haven't really seen the positive side of sending players to Serie B. I'd rather send someone to like a top foreign league, or even like Mulatieri went to like the Dutch second division. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I think those leagues are. I like Spain.
yeah,
They learn to play one v one, defend one v one. I think is good. I like Netherlands. I like Belgium.
mm,
But we'll see. I think if you loan them in Italy, you can always count on them getting the culture of the country. But what's that given us the
yeah,
last
like
few years?
Esposito last year at Venezia, he got some minutes, but yeah, now you see he's
Yeah.
already flourishing at Basel. 3 goals, three
Yeah, it's
games.
better. Like they can get a bit of confidence. They get a bit of they get to live the abroad life a bit. I
Yeah.
think that's good.
Yeah, what about Agume, bro? He's kind of like, for me, he's like technically he's red, like he's great, but then like off the ball, I just watch this guy and I'm like, wow, this guy he reminds me a little bit of Kondogbia when he came to Inter. Like he just looks very soft when he's off the ball. His positioning,
Yeah,
does he need loaning out? Or would you keep him as a vice Brozzo?
no, I'd loan him out.
Hmm.
Same as always, he has to get playing time because the midfield is starting to get stacked.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys in there.
With Sensi, with Gagliardini, with Vecino, and with the three guys I think will start like Chala and Brozo and Barella. I
Hmm.
think the midfield is stacked, and I honestly think that he should be getting playing time. And playing
Yeah,
time
yeah,
should be an important thing for him. And the thing with Agume is that he obviously has big clubs looking at him, and Bayern, they like openly want him,
yeah,
and there's a reason for that. So he has to go get playing time. So that's important. But I think for his ego, he has to go to like a mid bottom, not like bottom the relegation side, but mid bottom in order to get like playing time. And maybe if they do well, they are up in the 10, 11, 12th place. So hopefully he gets playing time and hopefully he flourishes because those guys that age, if they don't get playing time, they don't get anything.
yeah. We saw last year he went to Spezia.
Yeah.
And he got some playing time for a little bit, but then I think at the end he only had like 11 appearances, which is not enough for someone his age. He
No.
needs more. Um, but bro, last one, Limone Inzaghi. Is he bringing a second star? What are you saying?
Um, so depending on how the Mercato goes, I think if Inter get Nandez and Dumfries and two strikers, I think the team is highly competitive.
Yeah,
If Lautaro and the guys stay, if Barella and the guys stay, I think this is competitive. But I think the difference this year with last year is that Juve have Allegri. He's a great coach. They have a
yeah,
great team. Napoli have Spalletti, who's a great coach, and they have a really good team that's been underperforming.
mhm.
I think Atalanta are good. They are solid. You can count on them to be good, more or less. They might want to go for Scudetto. I think Roma won't be fighting for a Scudetto, but I think they will be tougher than last year. They will be harder to beat. They will grind out wins and victories and points and make it like Mourinho won't want to lose against Inter or come to San Siro and lose. So those were 3 easy points or 4 points last season that you're not getting easy this season. I mean, Milan has continuity. I really don't count them as a Scudetto winning team, but if Ibra is fit the whole season, you never know. So I think there are many teams that are tougher this season than last season. And I think that the risk for Inter is that there's like general depression amongst the players when Romelu left and Haki left and Conte left. Like that's what I'm most scared for because if Inter get Dumfries and Nandez and two strikers, I'm looking at the team and saying, yes, it's worse than last season, but it's more complete because now we have four strikers for the first time since the treble. I'm looking at the midfield and saying, hey, there's goals and assists here. I'm looking at the defense saying, hey, these are the guys that won us the title. We have the question mark in goal, of course, but I see a highly competitive side. And, much comes down to the start because if we can unite the team and the fans against the ownership and get some good results in the beginning, that's going to be key. I think we can compete. I honestly think Inter can compete. And I honestly think that the most important thing this year is to make top four, and hopefully out of the group in Champions League. But top four and last 16 would be great. And if things getting amazing, you fight for the Scudetto again. But I think it's going to be difficult with Napoli and Atalanta and Juve looking for me really good. I
Yeah,
like Inzaghi. I like him as coach. I didn't like him at Lazio because he whined too much, but I never think
yeah,
that they play bad or they were really bad. I think he had a really bad squad, and I think he did really well. So he's brought in for this situation, and he has won titles before against the only one who won something when you were the only club winning. So Inzaghi, yeah, just as Ali says, he was in the race with Lazio, and he could have won it. To be honest, COVID came and they were interrupted, and so from what I've seen from the friendlies, of course, the teams we have faced aren't so good, but the basis that Conte has left, the players and the mentality that Conte has left, they are still there. They just need a good start. And I think, you hear how the players are like Bastoni speaking. We're champions. We have to defend the title, you know? So we're going, I think we're going to be there. And I hope that, the only thing that I really don't hope to see is that we go out of top four. Like
man.
that's the
Yeah,
only thing that can't happen, because that means this is done. It's
yeah,
over with, and we're going back to the banter era. Because for now, people laugh a lot and say, "Hey, you guys lost Conte, you guys lost Hakimi, you guys lost Lukaku, you're over." But the rest of the players are there, and the rest of the players are not the players they were last year. They have won a title. Lautaro
exactly.
won Copa America. Barella and Bastoni won the Euros. They come with the champions mentality that wasn't there before, and that Conte has left. Conte's teams usually do well the year after. So I think we can do well. I think Inzaghi has the good opportunity to do well, and I honestly think that this team has to compete. he
It
has
has
to
to.
compete. He has to compete, and we have to get fourth place. There's no alternative. Like either you cry or you suck it up and you do what you do. There's a badge that you have to honor. There's a scudetto on the chest that you have to honor. There are going to be a lot of fans in this stadium, even though everything is going on. There are going to be a filled stadium to the capacity that it can be filled.
Yeah,
And I think these people, they deserve to keep enjoying what's been done. So we might have been looking at being the by far best team in the league and challenging in Europe, which I think we could have done with Hakimi, Lukaku, and Conte. We have taken a step back and we have to aim for top four, but we're still good. And I'm convinced that we will have a good season. I'm actually 100% convinced.
there we go. There we go. That's the positive gospel I brought
Yeah.
you on for, man. I know it's difficult times at the moment being an Interista with everything going on. But if you take a step back, as Sia did there, and I've been trying to do on this channel, you see that it's not the end of the world. We've lost big players in the past, and the core of the team is pretty much still there. I think Lautaro will stay. In my opinion, I think Lautaro will stay. As we said, I think they're gonna make him the poster boy. He's gonna be the main guy, and yeah, I think we'll be there top for now. If they keep up with the rumors I'm hearing, if it is someone like Dzeko's coming in, okay, but if it is Correa or Zapata or someone like that, even if we do a miracle and get Vlahovic or something like that, then we're definitely right up there. As Sia said, Juve haven't done much. Locatelli's might come in, might not come in, but they've not really. Allegri's come in, obviously, but squad-wise, no one's really impressed me this summer because Serie A is just at the moment. Yeah, Premier
Broke.
League and PSG is just owning everything at the moment. So yeah, I'm confident. I'm confident going into this season. I'm actually looking forward to it, like to watch the team, because now we've had 2 years of Conte ball, a little bit of terror ball in the last 6 months. So I think I'm excited to see what Inzaghi or Limone ball will look like. But yeah,
I agree.
see, the team psychologist. But thank you very much for coming on. There was a couple of people asking where you're from. Yeah, you've got like a varied background, bro. Quite a
Yeah,
good
I'm born in
history.
born in Sweden, but I'm Iranian.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's why he spreads all the Alexander Isak propaganda
propaganda.
on his
Yeah.
timeline. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on, bro. It was a
Thanks
great,
for
great
having me.
episode.
Take care. Hope
Is there
everyone
anything you
enjoyed.
wanna plug before you leave?
No, we just have to hope Samir Andanovic does well.
Yes, pray to all the God
Yeah,
that you guys believe in if you don't believe in. Thank you everyone for joining. Make sure you leave a thumbs up and
take care.
subscribe to the channel. Ciao, ragazzi.
Subscribe.